James, here with today's Media Watch. Good to see you.
Likewise.
We are starting in France,
Yes.
as we always do. The far-right leader Marine Le Pen making an unusual hand gesture today the campaign for the European elections.
That's right. She was in Estonia, and you can see in this Estonian news website in English the image in question that got her in some hot water. Marine Le Pen asks the EKRE MP to delete a selfie from his social media page. So I'm not sure if we have
Can we
the
see the
images
picture?
here, but what you can see, this is somebody from the Conservative People's Party of Estonia, and now to most people that looks like an okay sign.
Well, not anymore, I don't think.
Well, there you go.
This
is what we're going to get to because the guy in question, Ruben Calep, is a self-described supremacist, Finno-Ugric supremacist. So this is somebody who is far right. I think it's fair to say. And you can see even in the case of the New Zealand, Christchurch shooter, he used a symbol that you can see here is somewhat similar to the hand gesture that was employed by that Estonian MP. Now, Marion, we'll get to some of that in a second as to what the signification, the meaning might be.
Given an explanation? Or?
Well, Marine Le Pen said, look, this is ridiculous. This is an international sign used by divers and others, which simply means okay. Others you can see here really just didn't take her seriously at all when she was saying that, even kind of putting a little diver's outfit on her and just mocking her basically for coming out with what they felt was a sort of facile explanation. You can see here what people are pointing to. White power. In fact, when people do this hand gesture, those who have affiliations with the far right and white supremacy have it as coded language for
it has been
all of that.
Right, and it has been talked about a lot, and it would be unusual for any tech-savvy politician not to know about that.
Well, this is exactly the point. I mean, somebody with Marine Le Pen's level of awareness of far-right movements would probably have some degree of awareness of the tropes, the symbols, and whatnot. Now, there is a term which is used often to describe this, which is dog whistling. So a dog whistle is something that a dog, for example, can hear, but that humans can't hear. So when you use gestures like this, if it is done intentionally, it can, in some cases, be for a far-right audience who might identify certain
kind of like a secret
symbols.
Message or something.
Exactly, where if that image circulates on far-right blogs and forums or whatever, people will think, oh, she made that gesture as a sign of sort of solidarity with us. But it allows her also to deny it. Donald Trump has also been accused of dog whistling.
And of course, we are not accusing either politician of being a white supremacist.
But just to point out that a lot of people have also been saying, look at the amount of people who've used this hand gesture at various moments, probably entirely innocently, and it is indeed possible.
It's quite a recent thing, isn't it? I mean, I'm trying to think of the first time that this came up, but it.
Well, I wasn't
until
very recently familiar with it, that okay gesture also being used by white supremacists. So
one for politicians
could have been done
to
innocently. She asked for it to be taken down. She's certainly pleading not guilty in this regard. But some people online saying maybe you knew and are saying you didn't know.
All right. Well, we will have to take her at face value,
Absolutely.
won't we, for now?
Indeed.
All right. And speaking of interpreting gestures, Macron himself was at the centre of a similar storm yesterday.
This was
an unusual gesture of his own. What was that?
Now, this was at the homage at Invalides in Paris for the two soldiers who perished in that rescue operation. And one of the soldiers, his mother, the mother of Alain Bertoncello, is photographed here. Now, what you can see is Emmanuel Macron is consoling her, and he puts a hand on her shoulder. Now, if we go to the video, this is something that went quite viral yesterday. You can see that at a certain moment when he puts his hand on her shoulder, she actually removes it. And it was interpreted in many different ways by many different people online. Just to give you a sense of some of the tweets, some people saying this was an awkward gesture from the president and a lesson in dignity from the part of Madame Bertoncello. So it was being interpreted as a sort of gesture where she was pushing him away. Now, this is by way of
I don't know.
cautioning.
She held onto his hand after, didn't she?
That's right. So even if you just take it at face value, she was still not being very hostile towards him. And it turns out, Libération rang it was actually her husband who ended up speaking to the journalist at Libération. She had an injured shoulder. So the reason she took her hand off is she simply had, pain in her shoulder.
Probably not the day she wanted people interpreting her body language.
Exactly. So sometimes we can jump too quickly to conclusions.
Absolutely.
In terms of images online.
All right. Very interesting, James. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks a lot.
James Creedon there with Media Watch. Now,